Hello, I'm Somi Arian. I'm a tech philosopher, author, filmmaker, and the founder of FemPeak. On this podcast, I speak to some of the most brilliant minds of our time to help us navigate emerging technologies leading to a socioeconomic singularity. Our guest on today's podcast is Lavinia D. Osbourne, a blockchain and fintech thought leader and a LinkedIn top voice. She's also the founder of Women in Blockchain Talks, an award-winning networking and educational platform that shines the spotlight on dynamic women in the blockchain ecosystem. Lavinia has also been a regular speaker and educator on the FemPeak platform, and we love having her on our sessions. So without further ado, let's hear from Lavinia D. Osbourne. Before we start, I want to tell you about Athletic Greens, our sponsor for today's podcast. I started taking their AGI daily supplement because I work 14 to 15 hours a day and I needed a way to stay at my peak performance all the time. By now, I've been taking it for several months and I love it. I definitely feel more mentally alert and I seem to be more energized during my workouts. Honestly, it's no wonder that Athletic Greens has over 7,000 five-star reviews. I wanted to share this with you because I personally have been loving it. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/Somi. Again, that is athleticgreens.com/Somi to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance.
Hi everyone. Hi Somi. Thank you so much for inviting me to be on your podcast. Somi is someone I've been following for a very long time, someone I respect and admire in the industry. So it's always great to have two brilliant feminine minds come together and add value to the world. So as touched upon, my name is Lavinia Osbourne. I'm the host and founder of Women in Blockchain Talks. I'm also the creator of a up-and-coming startup called Crypto Kweens, which is an NFT marketplace which will focus on diversity and inclusivity, putting a spotlight on women artists, 80%. So we're going to have an 80-20 rule. So 80% women artists, 20% male and non-binary, because, you know, at the end of the day, we are in a new world where gender identity matters. But unfortunately, the numbers speak for themselves and there are not enough women coming in the space. So, you know, if you see a problem and you have the passion to create the solution, why not? And in a way, that is how Women in Blockchain Talks started. I used to work for a blockchain company and I noticed quite evidently that there was not enough women in the space. And, you know, very male dominated, which is quite unsurprising if one wants to be honest, considering it's tech and finance. So after I left that company, I took over a meetup group and I was like, what am I going to bring to the table? Because I'm not technical, but I am an entrepreneur and I have lots of different ideas and visions, and gender equality, just equity generally across the board, financial, gender, ethnicity is so very fundamentally important to me. And so I did my first event summer of 2019, and then I decided that there was a lot of women in blockchain groups and I wanted my group to stand out from the crowd. And I thought, well, how can it stand out from the crowd? And I thought to myself, let's call it Women in Blockchain Talks, because women talk. We have a voice and it should be heard. In addition to that, there was a number of event organizers, blockchain conference organizers. And when you went to the events, it was just all men. And it was like, you know, the term manel came up because it was just a all-man panel. And I was like, where are the women? Well, we don't know where the women are. I said, okay, let me help you out with that. And so what I decided to do was interview two dynamic women who had already been establishing themselves in the blockchain ecosystem way before I even came along. And I would shine a spotlight on them and let their voices be heard, their stories, because our stories are important, and our voices, as I touched upon, is important, and also representation matters. So sometimes when you see someone who looks like you doing something that you're interested in, it just gives one that bigger impetus to dive in, have a look for themselves, and open the doors potentially for others to come in. And that's what we want. Say as well that Women in Blockchain Talks is also very different because we're open to all genders. So we're women focused, women led, but open to all genders.
Amazing. I really like the manel, the man panel. No, that's really cool. So when did you make your first investment in crypto? When did you buy your first crypto? Because that's like, it's one of those things that like it took me a long time. I started studying the blockchain technology since 2018, but I didn't buy my first crypto until 2021, in the beginning of 2021, February. And that, for me, that was the catalyst was the pandemic. Some people's journey to blockchain has been first they bought crypto, then they understood blockchain. Some people spent a long time understanding blockchain, then they bought crypto. And when I first came across blockchain, I didn't think of the monetary side. The first thing I was really fascinated by was that this is going to disrupt Facebook and Google and Amazon. And that was the thing that I found exciting. So how about you?
Yeah, so my background is in financial well-being. I wasn't an IFA, independent financial advisor. So I never advised people on what to invest in. My stance was, you need to understand your relationship with money before you start investing in anything. You need to understand how you think, feel, and what you say about money, because it has an impact on the relationship that you have money. So that's what I was doing before I went into the blockchain space. And my focus, once again, was women. And when you're talking to individuals, but I dealt with all individuals, but the focus was on women. And the reason for that is simply the data speaks for itself, that most women will retire in poverty. A big part of that is the gender pay gap. Another part of that is that women will take time off to work to look after their children. Women have more lower paid jobs. Forget the gender pay gap. They have lower paid jobs. And so, of course, there's just not that access caste to invest in a pension, so to speak. And even if they do, it's just not enough to cover what is required when one retires. So on understanding and reading this, and this interest of mine was born from 2008, the global financial crash. And I just couldn't understand how so many smart and brilliant people were affected. I mean, I was badly affected, and I did all the right things. I went to university, got a good job, etc., etc. But people were actually killing themselves off the back of the global crash. And I don't know, as a human being, it really hurt me. And I just thought people need to have a better relationship with their money. I started to learn myself. I went on a path of discovery around financial literacy and financial education. And it's just not something that most of us are taught or is taught at school, particularly if you go to a normal, everyday, comprehensive school rather than, say, a prep or a private school. So with that being said, I started this financial well-being consultancy. And when you are talking to individuals about their relationship with money, you're going to touch on the past, the present, and the future. And of course, when you touch on the future of money, you need to understand what's happening in the marketplace. And so in doing that, I understood, we had the challenger banks coming up. We had how we were moving away from cash to digital currencies. And then, of course, those conversations led to decentralization and Bitcoin. And I was like, well, what is Bitcoin? So I knew about Bitcoin, but did I really understand Bitcoin? No. Was there anyone around me who could really show me what Bitcoin was or introduce me to how to acquire it? No. So I heard about it in my grapevine, but there was, you got to remember back then, 2015, 2016, it was hackers and techies who were really in this space. And if you didn't know someone like that, and not even know them, but trust them, then getting involved or investing was very, very difficult or challenging. And so being an entrepreneur, and I'm sure you can appreciate this, you have your peaks and troughs. And I got burnt out very, very badly. And I had to take some time off. And then I had to reassess my situation. In that time, I started hearing about blockchain. And I was like, what's blockchain? And then I started reading about blockchain for good. And it really piqued my interest as someone is very much about equity, particularly. And I thought to myself, let me see if I can utilize my skill sets and get a job in the blockchain arena for a startup. And I did. I was fortunate enough to get a job with a startup, and it was a blockchain startup.
And when was this?
This was 2017. And it was an amazing experience. I'll always be grateful for that opportunity and the person who, gave me that opportunity. And like I said, just being in that space, I was able to then connect with colleagues who had been investing, and they were then able to say, Lavinia, this is what you need to do. And so it was at the back end of 2017 that I received my first NFT and a crypto kitty, which was one of the first NFTs derivatives out there.
Do you still have it?
Okay, there's an interesting story. I do. So it was printed on a piece of paper. I put that piece of paper down somewhere in my house, and I have no idea where it is, but I know it's here.
Wow. Because that's worth a lot of money now, isn't it?
I know, but hey, I am not the only one misplaced, who has thrown away, motherboards worth of Bitcoin, which for some people, they'd be millionaires today. So I just think to myself, it will turn up when I really, really need it. So I trust the journey. I trust the universe, so to speak. But the thing was, I was a recipient of a crypto kitty, and which was an NFT collectible. And then, like I said, via my colleagues, they helped me invest in my first crypto. And I bought Ethereum, Bitcoin, and Litecoin. And then January 2018 came. What happened in January 2018?
Crash.
Crypto winter.
Did you sell?
No, I didn't sell.
Oh.
I bought in December. Why would I have sold? I didn't understand the market. I didn't really understand what I was doing. I was just taking the advice of my colleagues who'd been in the space and seen their assets increase. Some of them had bought and sold, bought again and sold. And then just before, my investment had doubled, and I was like, yes, I'm a winner. And then crypto winter came in, and it was like, what? Crypto winter continued for years. I even forgot about it. I parked it, and it was only one day I remembered, and I thought, let me go and have a look at my my wallet, and the funds had very much decreased. And at that time, I wouldn't say that I lost faith in it. I just was like, I'm not seeing how this works for me. I didn't fully understand. If I knew then what I know now, I would have just been doing dollar cost averaging or pound averaging, and I just would have continued to build on it, just a small amount. But at that time, I had other things going on as well.
Please just tell me you still have those, though.
Of course I do.
Oh, good. Because it was like a cliffhanger. I was like, what are you doing with these funds?
No, like many people in this space, I've got wallets galore. I've got a cold wallet. I've got assets in there. But to be quite honest, I've just parked and left it. And in the last year, I gained. And then, when you start a business as well, especially a grassroots business that there's no investors, you investor, what are you going to do? You don't sit on it and just wait to become, that's not what it's about for me. And so just like any asset, you will sell a portion of it to invest into your business.
Yeah, that's why I invested £120,000 into FemPeak before I started raising investment. At the time when I spent that 120 grand, if I just bought Bitcoin with it and waited, it would be worth it.
Yeah,
But then
exactly.
the company is worth 25 million now, so it's okay.
Oh, wow. Well, that is impressive, Somi. I can't say the same thing about Women in Blockchain Talks, but give it a year or two.
Yeah, absolutely.
Confidence from companies such as Chief. I'm sure you must have heard of them.
Yeah.
100 million plus, and now they're $1 billion business. And it's amazing to see that. Obviously, they're not blockchain, but they're women-led and they're community-led. And for me, that's very inspirational.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so back to the story. So you utilize some of the funds to build Women in Blockchain Talks. And now what you're doing with your investments, are you still investing? Do you buy NFTs, for example? Like, we know that anybody that watches this know this is not financial advice, but I'm just interested to know, let's say, for example, if you have now 100K or 50K, let's start with 50K. What would you do with that?
If I had 50K, a majority of it would go into my business. My business is my investment. And I would, just because it's good to diversify, I probably would take about between 5 and 10 to investigate some coins. Like I love what Cardano stand for, Solano, Matic. So I would look at, I invested in some Shiba Inu. It went up last year. Now it's gone down. So, you win, you lose, but I'm not in this. I'm not in blockchain. I'm not in crypto simply for investing in crypto. I'm in it because I believe in the paradigm shift in which it brings. And I know whatever I do, be it investing NFTs, invest in crypto, invest in my business, I'm winning. The knowledge that I'm acquiring, the people that I am helping, the people that I'm inspiring, I'm winning. So to answer your question, I'd probably put about 5 to 10,000 in crypto and NFTs. But right now, my objective is building the business and also Crypto Kweens. That requires, what it's like, the technical element that requires a huge amount of input for the technical element to pay for the devs, again, grassroots. So with that being said, I know Crypto Kweens is going to make an impact on the NFT market. At this present moment, I'm going through a court case, which you're aware of, Somi, and this court case has actually set. Oh, you wasn't aware? So I have 2 Boss Beauties.
Okay.
They were gifted to me when I did some work with them, and they were stolen from my wallet. I won't say it was OpenSea's fault. I just want to clarify that, but it was via OpenSea. And it was quite interesting how they did it, because with a smart contract, you have to show the smart contract that funds have been received in order to trigger the smart contract to release the NFTs to the new wallet. So via my wallet, my MetaMask wallet, it showed that funds had come in, but there were no funds in my wallet. Do you see what I mean? So it shows an account, but there was no funds that came in, because I know I would have had more funds in my MetaMask wallet. But then on the blockchain, it shows that funds went in and directly went out. But on my MetaMask, it does not show that the funds went out. You see? So I have a investigator. This is what they do, investigating it. And off the back of that investigation and just my contacts, I took the case to the high courts, the UK high courts, England and Wales, and they put an injunction against the persons unknown. And basically history was made because cryptocurrencies were seen as property, but not crypto or NFTs as a crypto asset. And so what that basically means is that if someone steals your car and the car is sold on, and then the police find that car, the car would be returned back to you because it is your property initially. The middle person has lost out because they bought the car thinking it was all, who knows, thinking it was all correct. But the property initially belonged to you. And so what my court case has done, and like I said, it set legal history. It's now stated that NFTs are property. And if they are stolen and you are in a position to go through the legal the legal process, irrelevant of where that property ends up, you have the right to claim it back. So my name is down in NFT legal history.
So you are now hoping to get those two Boss Beauties back?
Yes, but the case is ongoing. This is the first time this is happening. So, it might take 6 months, a month, 2 years, who knows? And there's another interesting element that's just come out from the investigation that unfortunately I can't talk about, but when it is revealed, it's quite mind-blowing, to be quite honest.
Really? Okay.
I think what it shows is how small the NFT community is, because it's to a big celebrity in the NFT space.
But it is small, right? Because around the world, only 300 million people have got a crypto wallet, and only 100 million have NFT. Sorry, only 1 million have NFTs.
Right. Well, there you go. Because it's free to open up a wallet, right? But it's what you do with it. And which is why one of the things that we did at Women in Blockchain Talks, I don't know if you heard about this, but we created the world's first ever, and I know
I saw the thing, the NFT minting party.
Right, exactly. And which is something that you could do because you've got your own NFT project.
Yes.
What we do is not just talk about what NFTs or how to create one, but we want to get people who have opened those wallets and actually do something with it. So we had over 100 people sign up. They attended the event. And then not everybody, but a group of people, of course, a handful of people went on to mint their butterfly, which is the NFT that we have in the Women in Blockchain.
And you sell them, right? How much are they?
So they're $60, and we can set the price. But, this is a new project. Everything is so new in this space.
Yes.
It's all about testing and trying.
Yeah, exactly. Same with ours.
Right, exactly. So that's what we're doing at the moment. But I think that if you're still thinking minting party, what is that? Think of a Tupperware party, the old-fashioned Tupperware parties where people would bring their Tupperware, describe it, do a presentation on it, and then people would buy the Tupperware. It's the same thing. We're talking about what NFT is, what these butterflies are, and then we have a community within Women in Blockchain Talks for our butterfly holders, which will have and does have utility behind it. So that's what we've created as an educational pathway to get people to actually take action and purchase an NFT. So it goes back to what I was saying before. These things cost. And so that's where most of my investment would go. So with Crypto Kweens as well, we are still looking to build that. I'm very excited about that. And so, so that is what my answer would be, really. And to say again, one of the things we're doing as well, this may interest you. For me, sharing is caring. To me, at this moment in time, and especially as women entrepreneurs, it's not about competition. And that's what I really appreciate about Somi. It's not about competition. It's about a mission to bring as many, particularly women, into the space as possible. And so one of the things that I've done, I've got a crypto workshop, and I know you run workshops as well. But off the back of the crypto workshops, what we're doing is that I have created, when I say we, it's a royal we as in Women in Blockchain Talks, and we have created a crypto savings club. So this is an opportunity for people to check in. It's about accountability. So if you want to do £1,000 a month, £50 a month, £5 a month, it's not my business. I don't care. What I care about is that each month on a set or on a weekly basis, because if you want to do it on a weekly basis or monthly basis, but just check in and say, hey, I've done my, pound cost averaging or dollar cost averaging. And that way it makes people feel like they're not alone. It's very practical. And it's a great way for people to get started and hopefully keep going, So that's one of the other initiatives that Women in Blockchain Talks have put together and put forth.
No, that's amazing. Fantastic. And also, look, we all have like slightly different approaches or different ways that we are building communities. This is such a huge space in the sense that, look, think about it. I mean, only 300 million people even have a wallet, and only 1 million people have NFTs. So there's going to be so many more opportunities, and we are going more in, as I mentioned to you before, in a more of a B2B kind of route, and focusing more on like companies, but we are still women-led as well, as you know. Okay, no, this is very interesting. I'm definitely going to get one of the butterflies. So one of the things that we decided to do, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. I had the option of making the NFTs, putting a price on them, because we are going to have an official drop, and selling them, and then say, okay, with that you get a membership of the platform. But then I thought a lot more about it, and I realized that so many people don't yet even have a wallet. They're just interested. They want to get their feet wet. I felt like this might be too much of a jump for them to go from, a lot of them will be like, can I just buy a bloody membership, like not have to go through all these hoops to just be able to use your platform. So I decided not to include the membership of the platform with it. Let's say that, yes, you will get access to certain, sessions and things like that, but make it free. Make it free to mint so that people can just learn, use it as a learning, opportunity. So would love to hear your thoughts. Like if you were advising, what would you do?
I think that because your community has been born in Web 0.20 rather than Web 3.0, you have to give people time to assimilate and to understand the process and get their mind behind it. If not, then you have the possibility of leaving people behind and people feeling like it's not a community for them.
Yes.
We are still at the beginning, in my opinion. We're not right at the beginning, but we're still at the beginning. I think there's a lot more mass adoption to be done because you stated the numbers, the data yourself. And I think what we are doing, and this is important, we are establishing ourselves, because sometimes you have to establish yourself. So when the masses do come in, they have somewhere to go to. Hence why I want to create the Crypto Queen, or I am creating the Crypto Queen NFT marketplace. We have to look at Web 0.30 in the same way, to a degree, of the Web 0.20. People ask me all the time, could this work? Could that work in Web 0.30? And it's like, well, if it worked in Web 0.20, why wouldn't it? There's always going to be niches. There's always going to be people who are interested in certain elements of a subject matter. This is the metaverse. Blockchain is a subject matter in and of itself, right? And we're all getting our heads around it. But within the space that we're creating of Web 0.30, you're going to have car enthusiasts, you're going to have makeup enthusiasts, and they're going to want what they want, i.e. community. And as we know, within Web 0.20 and Web 0.30, community is huge. Lots of companies are starting to see the power of community. Community is very different from an audience. An audience is who you perform to or sell to, but a community is something that is an entity of people who are engaged and want to engage, right? So it's a very different beast. And so with that being said, I think education is paramount. So if you're able to offer your community members the option to learn and do it in a cost-effective way, i.e. free minting, I think you're on the right track.
Yeah,
I think
it was a big decision because it cost me quite a lot of money to get it to the point that we got. It's a 10K collection, the time and money that took to develop it, then paying my developer, getting it on the blockchain, and the costs, right? Cost me basically several ETH, probably about 10 ETH just to get the thing up and running. And that's a lot of money for a startup, right? And it's on Ethereum as well, which is, again, as you know, everything but it is expensive.
So what I would have said, you asked me in an advisor role, and I in no point is this a criticism. It's just for those listening.
Why I didn't go with Polygon.
Yeah, Matic, because, for me, there's a difference. If I was going to do a NFT project that I want to mint and make money from, right? Not as a community leader, just as I've got this idea, I would probably go down the Ethereum because it's a pure sort of transactional project.
I thought a lot about, that's actually a very good opportunity to explain that. And you can tell me, what you think as an expert and advisor yourself. But I remember you mentioned about Polygon, and actually Tara Anderson also said go with Polygon. She's also somebody that I highly recommend. But I decided to go with Ethereum because, first of all, we will make money from it, because I think that even if we give it away for free, people will resell it. There is a 7.5% royalty built into it. And as our community grows, there will be a follow-up collection coming up. And, the next one will not be free, but it gives me a lot more time to educate a lot of people, and teach them about the gas fees, and this is how you mint it. The security of it, I just got scammed. I don't know if you saw on my post. I got scammed. I lost 2.5 ETH when I was trying to mint. I'll send you the video. I made a YouTube video about it. I was trying to mint my Moonbird, and I clicked on the wrong link. It looked exactly the same. Like they had completely redesigned the website with just like one letter, one small difference. I clicked on that. It just gave away my 2.5 ETH. And then, oh my God. And then I was like, oh my God. I was so lucky that I didn't keep more ETH in my wallet, because the way they had designed it, I kept clicking on it and it kept wanting to take more money off my wallet, but there wasn't more money. So then my wallet locked, because like it wouldn't let me even cancel this transaction. It said you don't have enough money to cancel this transaction. Oh my God, it was like such a stressful thing. So it was on Saturday. I messaged my blockchain developer. He jumped on a Zoom call with me. He got me to make some changes to the settings. Then I was able to send some money to myself and cancel that transaction. And then I had to get more ETH to buy the bloody bird, and I bought the bird. So basically I spent 5 ETH instead of 2.5 ETH to buy the bird, but the bird is now 20 ETH. so I'm still lucky that I got it. But with all of those things, these are all things that we can teach our audience, so that it's going to be a free mint, so they get an opportunity. We want to build a community, and I'm not in a hurry to make money from the NFTs. I think that it will come over time.
I agree.
Right now the focus is I'm happy to give it away for free, just to teach people in the process, this is what it is. And especially I want to go to companies and say, look, this is an opportunity. Let's say, for example, to broadcast companies, they're going to need to learn about these things. It's an opportunity for them to teach their audiences. So what's your experience has been with companies? Because I know that you're doing some collaboration with Barclays. Oh, and the other question I wanted to ask you is, what's your opinion about the recent announcement and that the UK government is opening up to crypto and NFTs? There will be a Royal Mint NFT. So what's your reaction to that?
Okay, so yeah, I've worked with a number of companies in regards to just talking about NFTs. I'm doing a lot of speaking across a number of platforms, which is absolutely great. Some of them are female-led platforms, such as Albright. So that's been a great experience to be able to work with them. Then, in addition to that, Barclays are very forward-thinking. They're one of the oldest banks, or oldest branded banks in the world, but they are very much on the pulse of fintech, right? And they have been for a long time. You got Barclays Rise, which is very fintech orientated. And that is who we are doing our one-day International Women's Day event, which you're speaking at, Somi, and I'm very excited to have you there. And if you're wondering, International Women's Day, yeah, well, we're continuing the conversation, because the conversation that we have is not just for International Women's Day. Break the bias is something that we need to continually have, particularly in the fintech, finance, blockchain space, and across the board. So I'm sure somebody will be putting a link to that event, which is on May the 11th, at the bottom, or when this recording is released. So I'm always very happy to collaborate with Rise Barclays, because I just think they're very forward thinking, they're very well established and global, which is important to me. Legacy banks, you adapt or die, right? But they're not going to give their power away, hence why CBDCs exist, central bank digital currencies. And so it's an element of having a digital currency, but without decentralization. Banks epitomize centralization,
which defeats the purpose.
Right. It defeats the purpose. However, there are going to be a lot of people in society who don't want decentralized currency. It's like, well, who does it belong to? Who do I need to talk to if I have a problem with it? They're going to want CBDC. And so for me, in my opinion, as long as there's no regulation that stops us, and I don't think that ever can be, but regulation is a very tricky regulation, and compliance and law, which falls under law. How it's utilized can be for the good and the bad. It can be used to restrict the movements and the choices of individuals. It doesn't necessarily remove the choice, it just restricts the choice. So my thing is that, would I use a CBDC? Probably not, but if I needed to, maybe because I'm going to get better value for my money using a CBDC, because it's government related, the tax or something like this. And of course, but generally my go-to is always going to be Ethereum and Bitcoin and decentralized currencies. But there's going to be a lot of people out there who don't care about decentralization and what it stands for. They're just like, okay, this is the thing. For those who are listening, and I'm sure you've done a talk or a recording on this, the history of money is vast. If you look at the dollar used to be backed by gold. In gold we trust, it's stated on the note. And then changed to in God we trust, because they removed the gold. It was no longer backed by gold. And so once the gold was gone, it was in God we trust, right? And then it became a fiat currency, which basically means that it's not backed by anything. And fiat currency also is a term relating to the trust. Fiat means in Latin trust. So it's the government trust to say this amount of money stands for what it states on the note. And if you look at a British note, it says promissionary note. So promissionary notes are a form of money. Digital currencies are a form of money. Decentralized digital currencies is a form of money, right? So money has changed and evolved. And so I think that the legacy banks, they have to evolve with the times, but they're just going to do it in a way that they retain power. And what that looks like in the future, I just cannot say. So that's what my thoughts are there. And then in regards to the Royal Mint, I mean, it's quite interesting, but I think it's a good idea as well, only because people trust that brand. So if it helps people, or if it opens the door for people to start learning about NFTs, then I think it could be a great pathway for them to then learn about the real
stuff.
It's a pathway for people to learn on a mass form. That's what I think.
Yeah, no, definitely, I agree. So they haven't given much more information about this whole Royal Mint and exactly what is going to be. Is it going to be open to everybody? Is it like, are you going to be paying in ETH? Are you going to be paying in a CBDC? Like, it will be interesting to see. Is it going to be on the usual open season things? Like, probably not, I'm guessing.
I think it's going to take a little while, only because if you think about anything with the government, it's convoluted. I mean, how much money has been wasted on the HS2, which was like a rail line or something like this, and how much money has been wasted on new government IT programs. So I think it's going to be a convoluted affair, interesting one. So I'll be in the metaverse, sipping my tea, watching the progress, as we just keep on moving. And that's what we just need to do, keep on moving and doing what we need to do.
Exactly. And also the other thing about this whole announcement is the timing of it, right? It was literally a few days after the European Union was like nearly saying that they were going to ban proof of work, which is like, it feels like they came out and said something different. And I think I make this connection between Brexit and, like now I feel like the UK is trying to say we are pro-crypto. And hey, look, being out of the EU is to our benefit because we can decide for ourselves if we want to adopt crypto. We don't have to be worried about, what the rest of EU says. So if there's anything good that may have come out of Brexit, maybe this, right? And then and this could be an opportunity for the UK government to kind of justify Brexit.
Justify and lead the way.
Yes.
And the UK does have a very long history of leading from the front. So, that in and of itself is keeping in line with what the UK, Britain stands for, ultimately, that independence.
Yeah. And remember, I mean, we were, when I say we, like I'm an immigrant, so I wasn't here. I wasn't born, brought up here, but I'm a British now. So I can say we were leading the way in AI, with Alan Turing and there's so many other, like Charles Babbage, like they are all British. British people have a habit of starting something and then not finishing it, and then Americans finish it, and they get the
story. But hey, if you think about America and its history, it stems from Britain anyway.
Yeah, no, that's right. Okay, so no, this has been very interesting. So Crypto Kweens is great, that's what you're working on. But like, how are you funding it? Because we have got some great people who listen to this who may take interest in what you're doing. So are you using NFTs to fund it? Are you what's the plan with that?
At this present moment in time, I'm not looking at using NFTs to fund this. I really want to build something that is going to be robust and it's going to stand the test of time. Like I said, I'm not in this space just to make money. I'm in this space for a reason.
Don't say that to investors.
Okay, so put it this way. Money will be made, but it's got to be, for me, what does blockchain stand for? It stands for equity, it stands for fairness, it stands for transparency. So if I'm making money, it has to be in that line. It's very based on the integrity. And I'm not saying doing NFTs is not going to be based on integrity, because we definitely want to go down the tokenization route because it's blockchain. It makes sense. However, I really need to think about, for the longevity and the robustness of this platform, because that should also be very important to investors, what is the best way of doing that? So, I mean, if investors are interested, then please, please contact me, because again, I am not just somebody who's in this space talking about it. I'm someone who's leading a legal case that has set history. So I'm not playing, so if you're ready to get involved, then I'm all ears, everything starts from a conversation, right, Somi?
Yeah, definitely. Okay, awesome. So we will have you back on the podcast when the platform is ready to be announced to the world. Our audience is growing as well. So hopefully by then we will have an even bigger audience. And yeah, no, that's all very exciting. Is there anything else you would like to leave our audience with in terms of, where to follow you, where to buy your butterflies?
So our butterflies can be found at women.artwork.rocks. And the ones that are on OpenSea, those ones have been minted, but I didn't mention this, but we're looking to do a hybrid. And so we've been in talks with the community to get their feedback. The community has come back and they've said, yes, they think it's a good idea. And like I said, everything is being tried and tested. So we are looking at doing a hybrid collection. So we've got 10,000 butterflies, taking 5,000 of them and putting them on OpenSea. And then, of course, they're going to have their different elements of scarcity that makes it unique. And then the other half will be part of the process of the minting parties. Yeah. But right now, if you want a butterfly, then it's women.artwork.rocks, and you just purchase your matic and you can start collecting. The beautiful thing about our project is that, when we thought of butterflies, it's all about collection, right? Yeah. So you collect your butterflies and then afterwards you can go through it and then you will mint each of them for $60. And so you put the matic in your wallet, and you can use MetaMask and go through them. And of course, any questions, let us know. We are here to help. So this is a collaboration project with the developers, of course, and the project manager, VJ Taylor. He is absolutely wonderful. And once you do purchase a butterfly, then you can become part of our butterfly community. And like I said, there's lots of utilities coming. So just to end, I would just say, again, we've got another minting party, NFT minting party with the butterflies, of course, on May 24th. We have the event with Somi. I can't wait to have you. And then we also have a 3-day, which I really want Somi to come to, but she says that she won't be able to take herself away. But we're looking to do, well, we're not looking, we are having a 3-day summit, Women in Blockchain Talk Summit, and it's going to be a retreat on the island of Cyprus. And it's an opportunity for women or from anywhere, everywhere to come. There's going to be a children's club. So bring your children, bring your families. The date is the 19th to the 21st of September with a pre-party on the evening of the 18th. And the reason why I chose Cyprus, do you know why I chose Cyprus, Somi?
The weather is good.
The University of Nicosia is based there, and the University of Nicosia, they are well-established, well-respected worldwide providers of a digital asset and blockchain course that many people around the world have taken. And so I thought I wanted a place that promotes blockchain, or the education of it at least. And again, it's Europe, and it is a beautiful place. And I just wanted something beautiful for women. And what is going to make this different? Again, this event is open to all genders, but we're going to have women speakers. And remember, I said at the beginning how I was going to conferences and it was just males. And even now, when you go to conferences, they are very male orientated. And if you see women, you might have a woman guest speaker, or you may have an all women guest panel, but they're talking about diversity or something like this. I don't want that. We talk about everything across the ecosystem of blockchain. And so I don't want a woman up there talking just because she's a woman. I want her to be up there talking because she knows what she's talking about, and what she has to say is just as valid as a guy saying it, so to speak. So
yeah, no, that's definitely very important. Okay, this is all very exciting. So people will check you out on your LinkedIn. What's your Twitter handle? Tell people.
Is at Lavinia Osbourne. You also have at WIBT Talks. So the T Talks.
Yeah.
So WIB Talks. So you can find me on Twitter then, and of course LinkedIn. There's also a Women in Blockchain Talks company page. You can also find me on Facebook, but we're not that active on Facebook, I have to say.
Yeah,
but also Instagram. And I have to say, it's just so overwhelming using social media sometimes. So my focus is LinkedIn and Twitter. So those are the best places. And of course, you can, send an email, info@Women in Blockchain Talks. And then there is Women in Blockchain Talks, the website. And then we have on the homepage steps to get involved. We have a community, a free community, and we have paid memberships. We have the butterfly community. So yeah, we offer a number of things.
All right. Thank you so much, Lavinia. And I will be continuing to check your progress, and we will report back. We will have you again.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I hope you enjoyed this conversation with Lavinia D. Osbourne. Be sure to follow her on LinkedIn and Twitter and check out her fantastic content. If you enjoyed this podcast, be sure to subscribe to it on Apple, Spotify, or any other one of your favorite podcast channels. And don't forget to give it a 5-star rating and write a review. The full reviews are also available on my YouTube channel.